Bruce Feldman drops his annual Freaks list and a ton of SEC guys, making his list, including an SEC guy at the number one spot.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? This is Locked On SEC. I'm Chris Gordy. We got a loaded show for you coming up a little bit later in the show. Segment 3, we'll get to a proposed college football model from ESPN that would include play-ins. We'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Also, we'll hit on some quick hitters around the conference. But I want to start today with one of the lists I look forward to every year. It is the College Football Freaks list put out by Bruce Feldman of The Athletic since, I believe, around 2005. Bruce has been putting this list together. Of course, for years he was with Fox Sports. Now he's been with The Athletic in recent years. But he basically lists college football players who he's either heard about, who were, that were just different, or guys that he's seen firsthand in person. Either way, he puts together this list of what he calls freak athletes. And basically he defines it as players who could jump ridiculously high or far, or were able to run exceptionally fast, or someone who was 325 pounds or 6'7". And his list includes 101 players. He defines it as the top athletes in the sport. So figured we'd take a look at the SEC guys who made the list this year. I want to say it's about 22. So we will run through those real quick. Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith. He checks in at number 2. I think a lot of people would have him as maybe the number 1. He's just an absolute freak on the field, off the field, and everything else. But he did not make number 1 on this list. It was a guy from the SEC, and it is South Carolina wide receiver Nyck Harbor. And here's what Bruce Feldman writes. He says, "I've done this for almost a quarter century, and Harbor was the first back-to-back number 1 freak. It took a generational talent like Jeremiah Smith to bump him from the top spot last year, but Harbor is back at number 1. To be this big and this blazing fast is truly rare. NFL scouts who came through Columbia this offseason measured him at 6'6", 243 pounds with 35-inch arms. His wingspan is 82.5 inches. He ran a 10-1 in the 100 and 20.2 in the 200 for the Gamecocks track team, where he's competing in the NCAAs. He just turned 21 in July. He continues to blossom as a receiver, caught 30 passes last season for a team-leading 618 yards and 6 touchdowns, and his 20 yards per catch ranked 3rd in school history. He finished the season with back-to-back 100-yard receiving games, the first of his career, against A&M and Clemson. This offseason, while weighing in at 235 pounds, he topped out at 23.8 miles per hour on the GPS, and also measured in at just 5% body fat. So a lot of love there for Nyck Harbor. And this is what's so intriguing about South Carolina this year is, yes, it feels like a must-win season for Shane Beamer and company, that if he's going to stick around as coach there long-term, that he's got to get back to winning some games this year. Of course, all eyes on, Lenore Sellers, and what's this Kendall Briles offense going to look like? Is this going to look much better? And we're going to see a Lenore Sellers we saw 2 years ago as opposed to whatever that was last year. So there's a lot of questions in Columbia, but one that we probably haven't talked about enough is, what if Nyck Harbor takes that next step? What if he's a 1,000-yard receiver in the SEC? What if he's awesome? And again, this isn't just a best players list from Bruce Feldman. It is freaks. And no doubt, Nyck Harbor, even since coming out of high school, is an absolute freak. Was a 5-star recruit, all everything. Now, again, he's got to live up to it on the field. He's got to have a fantastic season, but certainly feels like Nyck Harbor has a great chance to do that. Coming at number 5 on his list, it is Jayden Woods, the edge from Florida. He said he was number 40 on the Freaks list last year before his terrific debut season. 3.5 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss, and an interception as a freshman. New head coach John Summerall raves about him, said he's a baller, he's strong, runs a legit 4.4. He's an unbelievable kid, just a special, unique human. He said last year the former Kansas State champion in shot put and discus jumped 10.5 vertical jump 33.5 inches, and ran a shuttle time of 4.28 not long after arriving at Florida. He squats 555 pounds, power cleans 365, and he's 6'3", 250 pounds. He ran 20.6 miles per hour on the GPS. And Summerall said Woods is so powerful he could go heavier, but coaches capped him at 600 pounds on the squat and 405 on the clean. So, again, this is a freak list. And if you're looking for a breakout player for Florida this year on the defense, Jayden Woods very well might be that guy, an absolute freak there on the D-line for the Florida Gators. Coming in number 6, how about Arian Carter, a guy who was going to be suspended the first couple of games of the season, but was in the top 12 on Bruce's freak list last year, and he's moving up, improved his vertical a few inches, upped his bench press, and the former 300-meter hurdle standout in high school, recently clocked 21.7 miles per hour on the GPS. He's an all-SEC player, but on the SEC academic honor roll. So, again, plenty of reason why, and you see the trend here with a lot of these guys. It's, very fast, very strong, just and physically fit. That's, fits the definition of his freaks list. And so, anyway, just interesting that all three of these guys back, near the, top half of the list of Bruce Feldman this year. Coming in number 10, it's Colin Simmons at Texas Edge. He says the first team All-SEC pick from a year ago was the SEC sack leader with 12, has 21 sacks in his first 2 seasons at Texas, the most ever by a Longhorn in his first 2 years on campus. 6'3", 246 pounds, just 9% body fat. He is pound for pound the most explosive player on the Longhorns roster, according to their director of player performance, Torrey Becton. This offseason, he performed a 335-pound power clean. His 65-centimeter jump on an elite form and counter movement force plate is exceptional, and he demonstrates his world-class explosiveness. His motor is just as impressive as his explosiveness. 20 years old, runs a foundation with his mom supporting kids with autism. We had him on the show a couple weeks ago. Colin Simmons is a stud on and off the field, and again, he's due for a monster year this year in the SEC. Looking forward to it. So those are the guys who came into the top 10. How about some of the guys in the teens? Well, he's got Jackson Lloyd, Alabama offensive tackle, coming in at number 13. Here's what he says. A former 5-star recruit, got into 5 games as a freshman last year, but is now the Tide's projected starter at left tackle. He has excelled at baseball and basketball in high school and is an intriguing talent, still is just 19 years old. He's 6'7", 317 pounds. He's already benched over 500 pounds, squats 760. Is that right? Goodness gracious. So Jackson Lloyd, a freak. Will he do it on the football field? We will have to see. Coming to number 14, it's Dylan Stewart, the South Carolina edge. Feels a little bit low for him. It was, he says, the second-team All-SEC player last year. 20-year-old is as talented as any D lineman in college football. 11 games last year, 12 tackles for a loss, 4.5 sacks. He has hit 22 miles per hour on the GPS. Was measured at 8% body fat this summer. And again, another guy that needs to have a big season there in Columbia for South Carolina. How about number 23 on here? Another Alabama guy, Daniel Hill, Alabama running back. He says Hill won't turn 21 until the week before the Iron Bowl, but he's a huge back with exceptional power and excellent burst. In high school, he ran away with the Mississippi State 110-meter and 300-meter hurdles, winning by almost half a second. And last year was a good all-purpose weapon for the Tide, rushing 75 times for almost 300 yards and 6 touchdowns. This offseason, he's 6'1", 237 pounds, bench clean, all that stuff, does it all very well. And Daniel Hill coming in on the freaks list. We wouldn't think that to watch Alabama's run game last year, but Daniel Hill with a better offensive line, maybe we'll see that freak out on the field. Coming in number 26, it's Deshaun Womack, defensive end at Auburn. He says the 6'5", 260 pounder who's a former 5-star recruit is on his 3rd SEC program after stops at LSU and Ole Miss. Last year for the Rebels, he showed his tremendous speed, had career highs in tackles to go with 4.5 tackles for a loss and 2 sacks. He squats 565, bench presses 350, and runs just under 22 miles per hour. Deshaun Womack at Auburn on the freaks list. Coming number 31, this is a guy we've heard a lot about at Texas A&M this offseason. That's Anto Saka, the edge at A&M. Bruce said he was 56 on this list last year, moving him up to 31. He added 15 pounds to bulk up to 260 pounds on his 6'4" frame. He's got the vertical jump. He's got the broad jump. He's very strong and just a big-time dude that we are expecting big things out of in College Station this season. Anto Saka at number 31. Coming number 32, name maybe we haven't talked enough about, London Humphreys over at Georgia. He says he's a terrific all-around athlete, with great track bloodlines. His dad, Clark, was an All-American pole vaulter at Auburn. His mom was an All-American decathlete, and he excelled as a baseball player. Once broke Jalen Ramsey's Tennessee regional record in the 200-meter dash and had 18 catches for just under 300 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. But he's being counted on to be play a much bigger role in Georgia's offense this coming season. So London Humphreys, maybe we wouldn't look at him and think, freak athlete, but Bruce Feldman certainly thinks he does. And then rounding out our top 11 of the SEC guys, coming in number 33, L.J. McCray, another edge from Florida, former 5-star recruit. He said he's made huge strides this offseason, 6'7", 270 pounds. His top-end speed ranges from 18.5 miles per hour to 20.3 miles per hour. And he added 21 pounds of lean muscle mass, according to Florida strength coach Rusty Witt. So new Gator staff is excited about L.J. McCray's development, which figures to bode well for that defense. And, man, talk about two freaks on that D-line for Florida. When you talk about Jayden Woods and L.J. McCray, what is that defense going to look like with John Summerall bringing the heat this season? Certainly should bode well for Florida. All right, those were the top 11. We'll give you the other 11 SEC guys off this list of Bruce Feldman's freaks over at The Athletic. More after this. Hey guys, since 1986, The Game has been creating classic college hats that fans are proud to wear, whether you're an alumnus, current student, season ticket holder, simply someone who never misses a game. A great college hat is more than just apparel. It is a way to represent your school wherever you go. This year, The Game is celebrating its 40th anniversary by giving fans a chance to save on some of their most iconic college hats. If you've been thinking about replacing an old favorite or adding a new one to your collection, now is the perfect time. A classic college hat, something you can wear year-round, whether you're heading to a game, you're just running errands around town, going on a summer vacation, you want to show off your school pride. That's why you need to head to The Game. With hundreds of officially licensed college hats to choose from, you'll find the perfect fit for game day and every day. Don't miss this chance to celebrate 40 years of The Game with 40% off your entire order. Visit thegamecaps.com and use our promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's thegamecaps.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Celebrate 40 years of The Game with 40% off. And don't wait, this anniversary offer will not last forever. Hey, thank you guys for making Locked On SEC your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. And I want to remind you guys, if you did join our Everydayer Club, taking a pause from that for several months. So look for some exciting news down the road when it comes to our Everydayer Club. But appreciate you guys who did sign up for that. All right, let's dive back into it. We're talking Bruce Feldman's college football freaks list for 2026. Nyck Harbor, #1 on his list from South Carolina. But how about some of the other SEC guys who made the list? How about coming to number 36? It's the guy who's throwing him the football. That is Lenore Sellers, South Carolina quarterback. And Bruce says at times Sellers looks like Superman on the field. Clemson had a D-line full of NFL talent, and yet Sellers ran around through each of them 2 years ago in a big road win for the Gamecocks. He took home SEC Freshman of the Year honors in 24, completed 66% of his passes, 18 touchdowns, 7 picks to go with almost 700 rushing yards and 7 more touchdowns. But last year, with an OC change, Sellers wasn't quite as sharp. But with Kendall Browse now taking over as OC, Sellers is expected to bounce back. He's 6'3", 235 pounds, dropped a little weight this season, dropped his body fat, also tops at 22 miles per hour on the GPS. Lenore Sellers is a guy, when he is on and he's awesome, he is a freak. Let's see if we see that guy this coming season. Coming in number 38 on his list, another guy who, when he's on, he's awesome, and that's Ryan Coleman Williams, wide receiver at Alabama. Bruce says he burst onto the scene 2 years ago as a 17-year-old freshman who skipped his senior year of high school, made big play after big play in a Saturday night game against Georgia when he went for 6 catches for 177 yards and a touchdown in a Bama win. He had a disappointing sophomore year, though he still caught 49 catches for almost 700 yards and 4 touchdowns. But by all accounts, he's had a fantastic offseason. It seems primed for a big season. He's up to 185 pounds on his 6-foot frame after arriving in Tuscaloosa at just 160 pounds. He's improved his squat, his power clean, and his jump numbers are elite, and he hits 23.1 miles per hour on the GPS. I agree. Ryan Coleman Williams, could be due for a monster year at Alabama. Coming in at number 48 on the list, it is a guy who's new to the SEC, and that is Auburn quarterback Byron Brown. Bruce says the former USF quarterback made the freaks list last year at 6'3", 235 pounds. He improved his bench press this offseason, still squats 600 pounds, hefty load for any quarterback, also hitting 22.5 miles per hour on the GPS. Started 32 games at USF, and he's being counted on to do more big things coming over to Auburn with his head coach, Alex Golesh. He hit on 66% of his passes with 28 touchdowns, 7 picks last year, and rushed for 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns in Alex Golesh's fast-paced attack. Yeah, Byron Brown certainly could be set for a freakish year at Auburn. Coming in number 49 on this list, again, we talk about guys maybe we don't talk enough about. How about Deuce Alexander, Ole Miss wide receiver? He says the son of former NFL wide receiver Hilton Alexander had a strong first season with the Rebels after transferring in from Wake Forest. Had 44 catches for 684 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also rushed for 122 yards on 19 carries. He's 6 foot tall, 180 pounds, former high school track star who excelled in the 200 and the 400, hit over 23 miles per hour on the GPS, and it's the fastest man that Ole Miss has. Paul Constantine, the strength coach, who also worked with the Atlanta Falcons, Alabama, Indiana, and others, said it's the highest speed we've had here, and I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 players hit that speed in my entire career. Deuce's acceleration is, 8 something per second, 10 yards. He is on par. I'm not into all the Olympic numbers, but anyway, he said it's on par with Olympic sprinters. So that's all you need to know. Deuce Alexander at Ole Miss, freak athlete, could be set for a big, big year. Coming in number 54 on this list, Bray Hubbard, the Alabama safety. Last year, Hubbard earned second-team All-America honors from the AFCA. It's part of a superb secondary. He had 4 interceptions, 79 tackles, a team-high 6 pass breakups with 3 forced fumbles. At 6'2", 218 pounds, Hubbard's athleticism is impressive. We saw him at SEC Media Days a couple weeks ago. I mean, he is a physical athlete when you look at him. Bray Hubbard, going to be a freak for Alabama. Coming number 59, Oklahoma jumps on the charts with their tight end Hayden Hansen, formerly of Florida. The Sooners upgrading that position with Hansen and a couple other transfers, plus their new position coach in Jason Witten, who's a freak in his own right. But Hansen was the 3-year starter at Florida, 30 catches, 254 yards. He's 6'7.5", 270 pounds, huge target, but also a great athlete who's good at the top of a route, has impressive abilities to sink his hips. He moves like a much smaller man. So Hayden Hansen at Oklahoma, a guy that, again, making the top 100 here on his freaks list, Bruce Feldman. Coming in number 65, he's got Quincy Rhodes at Arkansas. This is one of the best D-linemen in college football, earned all SEC honors last year after he notched the most tackles for a loss by a Razorback in 10 years to go with 8 sacks, 6 hurries, and a forced fumble. He is super strong. Broad jump 10.2, vertical jump 30 inches, and clocked 19.9 miles per hour on the GPS. We told you, our guy John Neighbors been in Arkansas practice all week, and he said he's unblockable. Like, nobody there on the Arkansas line can stop Quincy Rhodes. So he is absolutely a freak. Coming in number 69, a little surprised here, John Mateer, quarterback from Oklahoma. He said he might be the most jacked quarterback in the country, as his Instagram account attests. But the 6'1", 224-pound senior is incredibly strong, especially in the lower body. This offseason, he did a front squat with 510 pounds. His agility times were quite good, 7.17 seconds in the 3-cone, 4.28 in the 5.10.5. He hit 20.4 miles per hour on the GPS and vertical jump 32 inches. Mateer had a spectacular 2024 season at Washington State. Was off to a good start at Oklahoma last year until the broken thumb. Played through it, did help lead the Sooners to a college football playoff appearance, but he is set for a big 2026. When you look at John Mateer, you don't maybe think freak athlete, but when you look at the numbers, you know, you see why he's able to keep the chains moving with his legs and keep that pile moving. He is very, very strong in that lower body. All right, rounding out a couple of the other SEC guys making the top 100. Number 71, they got Mike Matthews from Tennessee, the former 5-star recruit, who's improved his top-end speed to 23 miles per hour, according to Bruce Feldman here. And then coming in number 94, Elijah Griffin, Georgia D lineman. He said the Dogs have produced a whopping 8 first-round draft picks from the front 7 since 2022. Griffin looks like the next dominator to come through that pipeline. He was a freshman All-American last year, caused a lot of havoc, 22 tackles, 2.5 tackles for a loss. Expect him to be more of a freak this year. And then rounding out the SEC guys, number 95 on this list, Jere Bledsoe, D-lineman at Mississippi State, says he started 4 games last season, was productive with 35 tackles, 6.5 tackles for a loss. He is 6'4", 298 pounds, considered the biggest freak in the Bulldogs program. So that was, again, Bruce Feldman over at The Athletic, his college football freaks list for 2026. And just one name, a notable name that was left off this list, a guy that we had on the show just a couple of days ago. We taped it at SEC Media Days, but how about tight end Trey'Dez Green from LSU? I mean, standing next to him, he's a big physical freak. Just surprised that a guy like that didn't make Bruce Feldman's freak list, but nonetheless, some really, really good names making that list. All right, still more to come here on Locked On SEC, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Locked On SEC is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a home run today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with everyday's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keep an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. Sometimes it's a hitter who's been on a hot streak, a favorable pitching matchup, or even a ballpark that tends to give up home runs. Those are always first things I look for before making my daily dingers pick. If you are ready to play your game today, join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. Our final segment here on Locked On SEC. I wanted to mention this to you guys. College football about to enter year 3 of the 12-team college football playoff format, but the big power brokers at the top of the sport eyeing further expansion. Nobody knows exactly what the next iteration of the playoff will look like, but according to Yahoo Sports insider Ross Dellinger, discussions around what the future of the playoff could look like have already started, and ESPN is expected to propose a new model that will include play-in games. According to Dellinger, ESPN's new proposal format will feature a 16-team format with 4 play-in games that would determine who gets the final 4 slots in the bracket. While not an exact match, this new format ESPN is proposing appears to take inspiration from what the NBA currently has in their postseason format. Of course, the NCAA tournament added play-in games, and ESPN owns broadcasting rights to both the playoff and the NBA finals. So again, you can kind of make some comparisons there, but certainly an interesting development. We'll see what happens on that front. There's certainly been some discussion as well on, if we eliminate the SEC championship game and some of these other ones, maybe instead of playing a conference championship game, that's the weekend we're playing play-in games to see who gets into the playoffs. So just an interesting idea. We'll see where that goes. Before we wrap things up, a couple quick hitters from around the SEC we'll hit you guys with. And how about over at Mississippi State? Very interesting news coming out yesterday evening as State has initiated the process of 2 key defenders returning to the roster for a 5th season. According to Pete Thamel, edge rusher Malik Silla and safety Jerron Manning are back on campus and set to return. Their availability has arisen from that district court ruling in Colorado. So that would be 2 key pieces to get back at Mississippi State. How about over at Mizzou? We heard from Eli Drinkwitz speaking to the media this week and was asked what one of the most disappointing things they have not gotten right in his time there at Mizzou. He said one of the disappointing things that we have not consistently done is with tight end Brett Norfleet, utilizing him further down the field. He said the guy's 6'6". The further down the field he gets, the taller he gets in comparison with the other players. We need to challenge ourselves to utilize the tight ends to be an advantage for us this year. How about over at Texas? Steve Sarkisian was asked by a reporter if Cam Coleman reminds him of any of his former receivers he worked with. According to C.J. Vogel, Sark said the one and only Julio Jones, who he coached in his time at Alabama. So interesting comp there. How about over at Alabama? Kalen DeBoer spoke with the media a few days ago. Ryan Grubb met with reporters on Monday and was, of course, hit with the question, where are you with the quarterbacks? Anybody pulling away yet? And Ryan Grubb said, quote, no, not yet. They've been doing a good job. It's been an even battle. So the Austin Mack versus Keelan Russell battle continues on. How about over at LSU? Where from Lane Kiffin yesterday, also heard from his quarterback Sam Leavitt speaking to the media for the first time. And he's from Oregon, having started at Westland High School up there and spent his first season of college football at Michigan State before he spent the last 2 seasons at Arizona State, and was asked about what's it like adapting to the people in Louisiana. He said, the people here are great. The passion, just walking down the street, been incredible. He said, I'm from Oregon, so Louisiana kind of felt almost fake to me in a way. I didn't think it was a real place, but after being out here, just love the trees, always wanted to be in the South. It's been amazing. What's funny about that is if you ask LSU people what they think of Oregon, they'd probably say, I think it's a fake place. I've never been there, never seen it. So anyway, I thought it was a funny line there from Sam Leavitt. Over at Florida, the Gators dropping a throwback uniform to honor program legend Steve Spurrier's Heisman Trophy winning season from 1966. The old school duds will be a faithful replica of the uniform Spurrier wore during his legendary senior season under center, with the Gators with the striking blue helmet and throwback Florida F logo complementing the all-white jersey and pants combo. So just one more note here. I saw Texas Tech's Joey McGuire telling Brett McMurphy this week that his Texas Tech Red Raiders are embracing the villain role. He said, quote, we're the most hated team in college football, and I absolutely love it. I would disagree, Joey. Everybody thought that when you had the quarterback that was there, who's no longer there. You got rid of him. You're not as hated anymore. Nobody hates Texas Tech. They just didn't like you were trying to play a kid that everybody thought shouldn't be playing. That's all it was. Wasn't personal. Wasn't taking shots at the Red Raiders. But I would argue there were some more hated teams and hated coaches out there than Joey McGuire at Texas Tech, certainly. Thanks for tuning into today's Locked On SEC. Make sure you subscribe and follow so you get all the latest episodes. And hey, for those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football. I'm Chris Gordy. This has been Locked On SEC. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.